Welcome to Outfitter Interviews with Safari Club International's Golden Gate chapter. Today we have Chad Wiebe of Oakstone Outfitters. Good evening, Chad. How are you doing tonight?
Doing well, Stephen. Thanks for putting this together, and thanks for taking the time to work with my schedule and get me on here.
Oh, my pleasure. We're trying to do everything we can to help out the outfitters because so many of them have been hit by the COVID-19 shutdowns here. So why don't you just go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself, the name of your outfit, and what species that you hunt there.
Not a problem. My name is Chad Wiebe. I'm the owner of Oakstone Outfitters based out of Bradley, California. For most people who don't know where Bradley's at, Bradley, California is about 20 miles north of Paso Robles, California, which sits directly between Los Angeles and San Francisco on the central coast of California. We primarily hunt wild pigs. We hunt those year round, but we also hunt tule elk, which is a very popular species, especially amongst Safari Club International hunters, black-tailed deer, Rio Grande turkeys. We also do coyote varmint hunts, and we had done bobcat hunts with Stephen had hunted with us about a year ago before the state of California shut that down. But we hunt year round, which is a little different than, similar to the outfitters down in Texas possibly, but different than other outfitters in the U.S. that hunt pretty seasonally. Because we're in California, we're given the opportunity to hunt year round. So we do run hunts, usually run 2 hunts a week every week of the year.
Wow, that's quite a bit of hunting you got going there. What's the best time of year to go pig hunting, for instance? Obviously, you're going to go deer hunting during the season, but since pig hunting is available year round, you just hunt them all year round, and any time's as good as another?
Yeah, I'd say each season lends itself to a different style of hunting, and so it just depends what the hunter is looking for. But when people ask us what we feel is the best season, generally, and the feeling amongst most of the locals is May to August tends to be the best time to hunt pigs. And to a lot of people, that sounds like an odd time to hunt because in California, it can get warm, especially as you get into June and July. But the reason those months are so good and so productive for us on the Central Coast is because we farm a lot of dryland barley. And so in the summer, those pigs transition from eating wild feed that usually dries up in the summer into coming in to the agricultural fields. So it's not uncommon in those hunts to see several hundred pigs a day. And then the cover and condition of those pigs is very good. They're very fat right then. So as far as people, I'd say 80 to 90% of the people that hunt with us shoot pigs to eat them. We do get a few trophy hunters, but predominantly people that hunt our hunts are meat hunters. So that's the best time we think to eat them. Maybe for a trophy pig, the best time of year for a trophy tends to be in the cooler winter months when their hair is a little longer. That's, I think, just like a mountain goat, one of the things that make a trophy boar a trophy is the quality of the hair, and you find that good quality hair in the winter.
Very good. Very good. You mentioned, what people wanted in terms of the style of the hunt. What kinds of hunting do you do? I mean, is it primarily by vehicle? Is there lots of walking? What kind of hunting is available?
Sure. Most of the hunting that we do, especially for the pigs, is spot and stalk. So because of the terrain that we hunt them in is, I'd say, rolling, I would say foothill type country. So rolling hills, anywhere from elevation change we probably start out at 250 feet and go up to about 1,500 to 2,000 feet. So not a huge variation in elevation, but there can be some steeper hills. So most of the time what we do is find a high vantage point and glass from there. So very similar to a Western mule deer spot and stalk style hunt. Now, when it comes into our elk hunts, we use a lot of traditional calling methods for the elk. So it's not uncommon for us to be able to get into a 30 to 60 yard shot opportunity for archery or muzzleloader with our elk hunts. The state of California lets us hunt those elk in the peak of the rut. The peak of the elk rut for tule elk is mid-August to mid-September. We do get landowner permits, and those permits are valid from July 15th until the end of December. So it does give us a wide window. We still have one tag left this year that we're probably looking to fill next week with a hunter. And then that'll kind of round out our Thule elk for the year. So the elk season can drag on a little bit, but predominantly we'll do those in the peak of the rut. As far as our turkey hunts in the spring, we do just your typical spring season with traditional calling and decoy setups. We do have some blinds for people who can't move around or aren't as mobile, or for people who are maybe a little newer to hunting. The blinds work well for youth hunters and for archery hunters that might have to do a little bit more movement on getting on a turkey. We will also use some blinds when it comes to our pig hunts as well, on water holes in the summer for archery hunters, but predominantly spot and stalk. And same with the black-tailed deer, predominantly spot and stalk, with few occasions where we'll set up blinds or tree stands.
Okay. You mentioned archery. So what kinds of weapons do you have people come hunt with? I mean, is it rifle, pistol, shotgun, archery, everything, or?
Yeah, I'd say, we've definitely had every legal firearm that you can use in the state of California. Obviously, California is limited on some methods of take that other states make legal. But predominantly rifle hunters, with maybe 20% of our customer base being archery hunters, and then the rare occasion of a muzzleloader and the rare occasion of a pistol hunter to kind of round it out.
Okay. So what kind of trophies can people expect to find in this area?
Now, most of what we consider a trophy boar is anywhere around that 2.5 to 3 inch tooth range. Weight size is going to be around, on a bigger boar is going to be, 220 to 300. We have taken a few every year that go over 300 pounds, but it's not that predominant. You hear stories of people shooting 400, 500 pound pigs, and I'm sure that those have been taken at times, but unless you weigh them, I think a lot of those stories are hard to believe. We also run a meat processing facility and a taxidermy studio, so we're fortunate enough to get to see a lot of different animals from other outfitters that are friends of ours in our area that come into our studio and come into our processing facility. So I would say that your average pig in our area is going to be 160 to 180 pounds on a nice meat pig, and then with those trophy boars, being large. And obviously, as we get into a better feed situation time of the year, get into the summer when they have that real heavy barley feed, then they'll get a little bit more weight on them then.
So you said that you have your own taxidermy and meat handling there. So somebody can come to you, can do a hunt, and then have you take care of the mount and take care of the meat and everything?
Yes, sir. Yeah, so I think we're kind of unique in that point that there are obviously other outfitters in the United States that do that, but in the state of California, we are the only outfitter in the state of California that offers all of those services on site and under one roof. And what kind of pushed us to do that was, I think what a lot of outfitters and hunters have dealt with over the years is maybe some inconsistency in quality and inconsistency in being able to receive the finished product. So in this instance, we're able to at least be responsible and be held accountable for every step of that process from start to finish.
Okay. So I'm actually aware of most of these things, having hunting with you. Just FYI to people, I have hunted with Chad twice. I paid full fare on that. Got no discount, but I've been impressed with the facilities and everything. So that's one of the reasons we offered to have this interview here. What are the accommodations like for the hunters that come down there? Do you have accommodations, or they stay in town? What's the deal?
Yeah, so on our hunts, we offer accommodations on all hunts, and we offer the hunts with meals or without meals, depending on what hunters would like to do. There are some hunters that prefer to do their own meals, or if they come in a large family group, prefer to take care of that themselves. But at each of our locations, we hunt out of Hollister, California, and out of Bradley, California. And in both locations, we do have lodging on the ranch. And they're very nice ranch houses that we use to lodge out of. One that we have on the ranch in Hollister is more of a corporate style lodge that'll sleep 20 people with a main meeting room, lodge facility with outer cabins that hunters can stay in. But all those come fully furnished with bedding, towels, and linens. And then if hunters do choose to do their own meals, then they do get full use of the kitchens, cookware, gas grills, barbecues, etc.
What can people best do to prepare for success when they come hunting with you?
Yeah, what we see, we're fortunate to see a lot of hunters come through each year, and so we learn a little bit about hunters and about people that come. We see all different skill levels on hunters, but I think one of the biggest things, obviously, like most people would say, is being familiar with the firearm that you're hunting with. Generally, the times when we see mistakes happen in the field is when hunters, aren't familiar with their firearm, and it's very difficult. I myself am guilty of it when I've gone on guided hunts. I get so busy working that I don't really have enough time to do my due diligence and practice when I should. Most of our shots are going to be in that 50 to 200 yard range. Once in a while, we'll take a shot over 200 yards, but generally we try not to. We try to get closer if we can. But it's always important to really know how your rifle shoots, and in the state of California, know how it shoots with copper ammunition. Copper ammunition generally isn't that accurate. It has been getting better since most of the manufacturers have several different choices now for copper ammunition, but we find that hand loads shoot the best for us, and so that's what we do. But it seems like every couple hunts we spend a little extra time getting guns dialed in that maybe shot well with lead ammunition, and the hunters will bring a copper ammo in the same weight, but obviously it's going to shoot different than their lead ammunition that they're used to hunting with, maybe out of state. Obviously, in the state of California, there's a lot of folks. Most of our clients come from within the state. We do get some, obviously, from out of state each year, but I think most people are used to hunting out of state with lead ammo. So I think it's that getting your rifle ready and compliant with the state regulations and getting it to shoot well before coming is definitely a big step in the right direction. As far as being physically fit for our hunts, it's we can kind of work with all. We've had hunters that are in their 90s that can't get around too well. And we've had other hunters that are in their mid 20s that want to race you up the mountain. But but I think the biggest thing is getting the firearm dialed in. And once you got that, then I think that at least on my side, where I've made mistakes myself on guided hunts, is having not practiced enough with the gun I was going to take, or not being as familiar with it as I'd like to be.
And I just happen to know that at the Bradley facility, you also have some 3D archery targets set up on the hillside that people can practice on if they're in the Bradley area and doing an archery hunt.
Yes.
So, how did you get into guiding? What drew you to this?
Yeah, it's funny. Growing up, well, obviously always hunted, and I was very fortunate in this area of the Central Coast of California. My family has been here for over 5 generations, farming and ranching, and so we always had access to a lot of private property. And I look back at it now and realize how fortunate I was to have that kind of access that now I pay a lot for to get that kind of access for our customers. But I had family members that were guides and outfitters in British Columbia and locally. But my father and my family just farmed it. I just enjoyed it so much that I was able to get into taxidermy at a young age. About 18 years old, I started doing taxidermy and started a taxidermy studio in 2005. And so started guiding around that same time or a little before for other outfitters. And it was just a natural progression of, guiding as a guide for other outfitters to starting our own outfitting business. So, we worked for some great outfitters on great properties, worked on, Santa Rosa Island for Multiple Use Managers, who is a great outfitter, and then worked for other outfitters down here out of the Central Coast as well. So,
well, you mentioned public land, or you mentioned private land. Are you hunting primarily on private land, or do you some public land also? Where do you hunt?
yep, most of our properties are private ranches. We will hunt, I guess, some draw tag hunters if they're able to draw, like the Hunter Liggett elk hunt, which is right next to us here. We can guide that hunt on the Army base. But predominantly, I'd say 100% of our property is private, that we lease specifically for us and our guests. So when we're hunting those properties, we don't. It's a nice feeling because we don't have to worry about anybody ruining our stock or going after the game we're going after. And I've been fortunate most of my life to be able to hunt private property, and the few times I've hunted public, it's always a rude awakening to me of what a lot of people have to go through, and other outfitters that guide on public land, having to, even though you find game, it doesn't mean you're the only one who saw it. So, but generally here on these properties, it's specific to us and to our customers.
So when somebody comes hunting with Oakstone Outfitters and they go out, hunting for the day, they're probably not going to see any other hunters anywhere, because they're going to be the only hunters on that property, most likely. Correct.
Yeah. So yeah, when we hunt, we might see a landowner or a cowboy drive through, and sometimes they won't know where we're at. And so once in a while, maybe they'll stumble upon us, but no, we don't have any other hunters hunting at the same time.
Okay, great. Is there anything else you'd like to tell our viewers here? And we're going to be floating the credits, the contact information over the video here, and so you don't have to worry about that. But I know from personal experience that you guys run a really good show there. You do have multiple guides that you use. You don't do it all yourself. You want to talk a little bit about some of the other guides?
Yeah, so a lot of the guides we use are local guides that know the area and know the ranches really well. Great people, great personalities. We take a lot of time to try to pick the right people that are suited to help our business. I myself have been on guided hunts with outfitters and with guides that I felt were not competent, and obviously that's a terrible feeling when you save up your money and you go on a guided hunt just to be with somebody that you don't feel right within the field, or you don't feel safe around. So we do a lot of work to try to find that right fit for the right guide. Also, as well, as we get into, it's interesting with the COVID, obviously it was rough on us through the spring, but then, and we lost, quite a few customers just based off of the shutdowns. But it seems like since things kind of opened back up, we've had one of the busier years we've had. And I feel that, for our domestic hunts, at least, I know that the outfitters abroad and in Canada especially have felt a huge effect from a lot of the shutdowns and the travel restrictions that governments are putting on everybody, and as far for people's personal safety too. But going forward, we're already seeing a lot of bookings for the spring and later into the fall this year, or more than we already have. And I think a lot of it due to the part that there's no shows this year. So I think people are maybe shopping early or looking to try to pin down their calendars early, since last fall kind of ruined a lot of plans for a lot of folks. So hopefully, God willing, things will be opened up for the the African outfitters and outfitters in South America and Canada and Europe. So
thanks for shouting out for all the rest of the outfitters.
Yeah.
They need our help too. But you heard what Chad said. They're already starting to book up for the spring. If you want to go on a great hunt with Oakstone Outfitters, go ahead and give them a call or send them an email. And, we'll have all the information here, and we'll also put it on the YouTube channels so that you can just copy and paste and click on the link. Chad, thank you very much for your time, and wish you the best of luck with all of your hunting partners that come in and join you this year.
You got it, Steve. Well, thanks again for having me on here, and I really appreciate what you're doing.
Okay, great.
Thank you.